Welcome back. Ion Radio is on the air from the 2024 Star Wars Armada World Championship here at AdeptiCon. We are at the Hyatt Regency. Joining me, as always, is Adrian Valerie on my left. Table side, we have Garrett Vance. I'm Ken Krajniak, and this is round 2 of the Last Chance Qualifier.
Round 1 was definitely an exciting endeavor, and unfortunately I have gotten roped into calling 2 rebel fleets against each other. Where are the Imperials? Ken?
You know what? So a lot of this is going to be me telling Adrian how rebels work.
And I'm going to complain.
And that's okay. We don't mind, because we need different perspectives on how the game is played.
Yes.
So we've got 2 players lined up. They've actually already got stuff on the table. And we've got Ryan and Hank are playing. So this is Ryan Becker, and this is you may know him from Command Stack, one of the potentially one of our presenters. But we decided we're going to put him up on the table today because why not? That's kind of fun.
Okay, so do we want to go over the fleets really quick?
Let's go over the fleets. So what are we doing? Are we setting command dials right now?
I think they've chosen their objective already, which is going to be Solar Corona. Our good friend Ryan is first player. Hank is the second player. So the Starhawk fleet that you're going to see is going to be going as second player. Let's review what we got on the table. What we're going to see.
Let's take a look at the fleets. Let's go ahead, because Hank is second player. We're going to go through his fleet first. So he is the Starhawk X-Wing 2 fleet is what he's calling it. I'll go over this one. So he's got a Starhawk Mark II with Kirsta Gate as his admiral. Whalix
She
Blissix.
took a brace, by the way.
She took a brace. Took a brace. Whalix Blissix Gunnery Team, leading shots, XI7 Turbolasers, and the Unity title.
That thing's going to drill, baby drill.
For support ships, we have an Assault Frigate Mark II-B Bravo with flight controllers and boosted comms. We have a Flotilla GR-75 medium transport with Bomber Command Center and boosted comms. By the way, folks, in the stream, let me know how we sound. And 4 squadrons, Biggs Darklighter, Jan Ors, and 3 generic X-Wing squadrons. This ought to be an interesting fleet to see perform 398 points.
Yes. Yeah, so that's pretty close. Pretty close. So now we're going to go and review Ryan's fleet. He calls it, this is not how Overload Pulse works, which is pretty freaking funny. Okay, so we have the most powerful and iconic of the Rebel ships, the MC-80 Star Cruiser. He's got Lando on that. He's got engine techs, point defense cannons, XI7s. Again, another drill, and we've got another GR-75 medium transport with Ahsoka Tano and parts resupply on that one. So a little engineering power. And the MC-75 armored cruiser is in this fleet with Whalix Blissix, boarding troopers, ECMs, X-Rax, point defense ion cans, quad battery turrets, and profundity. This is craziness. Oh, and I neglected to say, it's Raddus. So we're going to see a whole bunch of hijinks with this fleet.
Did you give the name of this fleet yet?
I did, which is freaking awesome. There's a CR-90 Corvette with Hondo Okona and Overload Pulse, hence the name of the fleet. And the squadrons, Sharabe and Tycho.
That seems to be a common 2-fighter build for Rebel squadrons. When you really just don't have a lot of points, and that's how you want to fill those out, like those 35 points. 33, I think, is the combination, if memory serves.
Yeah, I mean, Shara Tycho, it is the standard. Those two give you the most bang for your buck. If you're going to have a small screen, Shara Tycho, really good.
Yeah,
really good synergy.
Agree.
Yep.
We've got obstacles getting put out here. Now we're actually starting to put ships out on the board here. We're going to transition so you can see the whole thing.
All right.
GR-75 moving at speed 1, MC-80 moving at speed 2.
Yep. Yep. Lots of putting out of the ball. I'm guessing, and you correct me, Ken, because I'm a little confused about all this rebel deployment shenanigans that's happening. So we're going to have
Starhawk trying to be put on the table right now.
Well, no, not yet. Obviously,
they're thinking about it.
He's just putting. Yeah, I mean that little deployment, just a couple ships with Raddus. I mean, you're going to get that small turtle up in the center, and then just try to max nav into the right position to lay out Raddus pane, right?
And that's part of the key here when you're dealing with Raddus. What you're going to position your ships. Your biggest hope is that you aren't going to wind up placing your ships in a position. Let's see if we can get a slightly different angle here, actually, just to get you a better view.
Sure.
That is a beautiful ship from right in front of the camera.
Right in front.
But, with what Ryan's going to try and do here is position his ship so that he can drop his Raddus ship, which is that MC-75, and be able to double arc, probably, I'm going to guess, the assault frigate, but he might go for the Starhawk. But the idea being to take out a ship, do some damage to that Starhawk, and if he can go for a big win, that's what he's going to be going for. But I think he's going to be chewing away the smaller ships to get started.
Yeah, I mean, the way I'm looking at this deployment here, I mean, obviously, we can see Hank stacking up that Starhawk and the assault frigate on one wing, on one flank. Whenever I have to deal as a primarily Imperial player with a Raddus drop, I try to do exactly what the Starhawk's just not fast enough, I don't think. But I can usually put a Star Destroyer in the side and then close the distance, make it where they can't drop so close to you or along the side so you can kind of get out of the way. Starhawk won't be getting out of the way, but if it can get a double arc where it's dropping, then that would be really, really amazing.
So here's what we've got for some speed updates. Starhawk is at speed 2. Both the assault frigate and the GR-75 are at speed 1. Again, thank you very much to Garrett hanging out over by the table, giving us as much information as he can, giving us updates. For those of you that were not here for round 1, the table is about 15 feet away from us, so we can't really hear the players. Garrett's going to be relaying information to us. We're going to do the best we can in terms of calling what is happening based on the camera views that we have, the information we can see, and everything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm looking here at this the squad matchup, and obviously with the Starhawk fleet having Biggs, Jan Ors, and the X-Wings, that's going to be a lot of tank.
It is, but you've got a lot of good counter. There's the handshake, and away we go. Getting started here with turn 1.
All right. All right. So they are debating. I see a little bit of debate going on here.
Got some laughs. They're really talking about, the game itself, not necessarily this game. They're talking about Armada. And, all right, Ryan's got to start here. Taking a nav token. I believe he's activating his, the GR-75.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just going to try to, I don't know where he's going to go with this thing, but, man, lined up with a Starhawk, I don't know if there's a good place to move. Well, I mean, going speed 1, fine. I mean, you're gonna be out of range for a little while.
Right.
It looks like he's having a little bit of squad issue there, as per the usual arrangement when you deploy close. But yeah, that Starhawk won't be able to scream in on it.
No,
thankfully.
most definitely not.
But we'll see here. We'll see what. I'm really going to be interested to see what that assault frigate does. Is it going to try to kind of peel off from the Starhawk, keep near maybe some of the obstructions so that when the eventual Raddus drop happens, it has some side arcs on where he might eventually be dropping? I don't know. I guess
if I was playing, I would want to keep that assault frigate to basically protect the starboard side of my Starhawk, so that Raddus has to go through the assault frigate, like you're suggesting, to make an impact on the Star, because the Starhawk's going to be most, if not all, the points in this fleet.
Well, I can see that whenever, I mean, it's Raddus, So I mean, you're going to drop that MC75, and it's going to be shiny and chrome. Witness me
very much,
spray
yes.
my face full of chrome paint and go hog wild. So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting. So there's some debate.
We're getting some information here. It looks like we've got the assault frigate being activated here.
Is it
being
going
moved
forward?
Yeah, definitely the assault frigate. Assault frigate took a nav token.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, moving ahead, speed 1.
Yep.
Give you a slightly better view here, just so you guys can see it.
Not rushing in, like, okay, let's see where the MC is going to go and where Raddus might be coming from.
Definitely. And special thank you to, let's see, hang on, MC80
MC also
taking
took
a
a
nav
token.
token.
Yep.
Special thank you to all 47 people currently watching us
Hello, everybody.
on stream. Please feel free to interact with us via chat. We're going to do our best to keep tabs on chat while we're talking about the game. Just keep in mind we are paying attention to what's going on with the game and everything else.
Yes.
And it is just Adrian, myself, and Garrett working today.
That's all you really need, though. I mean, honestly, the triumvirate, we're all right. All right, so they are carefully measuring. Let's see where this. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, he's gonna be getting that big front arc to anticipate that that Starhawk moving in. That I would think would restrict where that assault frigate wants to park.
I'm going to agree.
Also.
I'm going to agree.
Yep.
But again, you're moving really slow. We're well outside of long range here between the two fleets. I think this is going to be probably round 3 where we're going to see something. Starhawk taking a nav token.
Okay. I'm wondering.
Yes,
I'm
Garrett
wondering.
is a unique squadron with relay, giving us information from across the
Very
table.
nice.
Garrett is at range 3 of us and range 1 of the table.
Yes.
You are welcome, James. We are glad to be here in Schaumburg at the Hyatt Regency, giving you all the play-by-play action. We're going to call all the balls and strikes, let you know when the home runs are hit, and who is at short. It's who's on first, right?
Hey,
So,
you know what? As long as we've got a brief moment as these guys are kind of moving slowly and carefully toward one another, everybody in the chat, hello, thank you for commenting. Like Ken said, even though we don't, you can't answer everybody, all valid points and great commentary, and we will definitely freely steal from your observations to talk about on the stream. So.
GR75 is moving speed 2.
Okay, all right,
So,
that's
and then
good.
we are, I believe, looking at squadrons coming.
It's
up
got
in
to
a
be. It's got to be
second.
pretty close. I think that's
Yep, we're
everybody.
now moving into squadrons.
Yep, absolutely.
While they're moving squadrons, we're not going to have any action here.
No shooting.
No shooting. Just going to sit here and say that this broadcast is copyrighted by Ion Radio LLC. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Counts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Okay, the legal stuff's out of the way. We can go back to the fun things.
Exactly. All right. So just moving these squadrons into place. Obviously, we've got some squads taking advantage of the obstructions, which is great. You can tell that both these guys have experience playing in a tournament setting. They're going slow. They're not going guns blazing. I'm guessing that right around at this speed, we might see that Raddus drop 3 or 4. I'm guessing.
What are we doing with the X-Wings, Garrett?
I'm not sure. Garrett is flagging us down.
Flags
with
down,
special
showing something about
messages.
X-Wings.
Something
We just
about
got ships
X-Wings.
moving.
It's probably just
All right.
moving in.
Yeah. Covering a couple questions in chat. Both of them are Rebel fleets. We have a Raddus fleet, Ryan, that's on the bottom, and a Starhawk, a Gate fleet up at the top. X-Wing and Biggs. Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Obviously,
Garrett's letting us know what's being moved.
That's right. And Biggs is truly, I mean, Biggs is going to stay central to that ball.
Yeah.
He wants to move some damage around. He wants to make sure he's got some cover. I'm not sure if we're going to see. Top of round 2. I'm not sure if we're going to see Char and Tycho dive in and try to lock down that bomb. I think they're going to stay back and probably prevent them from bombing, right?
That's actually kind of what I'm thinking, because you don't want to have a bunch of the ships move in. No drop here.
Right, no drop in round 2. We kind of figured that this would be a little premature. Okay.
Again, keep asking questions in the chat. We will get to you guys as soon as we can. I got to get a sidekick advertising. You know what? Maybe I should, but
the legalese, yes. All right.
Watching decision making.
Yep.
All right.
They're carefully considering their options. They're both
Ryan
surveying
Becker's
the board. But
clapped his hands together.
Yep.
He's ready to move on.
Got
to
a dial.
Next round.
All right. Let's see what we got. All right, guess he's using it as a dial.
Okay.
We'll find out what dial that is that he has revealed. I'm guessing it's a nav.
That would
when
be
you're
my
that
guess
far away.
as
Yeah,
well.
it's got to. But let's see. Garrett will let us know what dial it is.
That is a good question. I will find
It is
out.
a nav.
It is a nav.
See, we couldn't see it, but we kind of
knew
know.
what
I mean,
was- we knew
we're
what was
far
going on.
apart. These guys know what they're doing. They're just navving it up, getting into position, and then we're going to start seeing some fireworks around round 3 or 4.
We will see if we can get you the current tournament scores. Stays at speed 1 as well. And again, I'm just going to move back to this camera angle over here because, I'm sorry, but that is just such a beautiful
cool.
ship.
It's yeah, I mean, right? I mean, it looks like a movie poster when you have that angle.
It really
on the
does,
Starhawk
doesn't it?
With the others in the distance. Now, nothing delights me more than seeing rebel on rebel violence. Just watching them feud amongst each other. Being all rebellious with each other. I like watching rebel ships blow up, so this will be an entertaining game.
You know what? I think we're going to see a lot of rebel ships blow up at some point here.
Yep.
I think the one thing that is kind of amusing here about the Starhawk is that when the table is bumped, you'll see it shake a little bit. Speaking of the Starhawk, that was a nav token, I think?
Yeah. Yep. That is a nav. And he's going to be
Don't watch
shyly
shyly at work. Just completely ignore doing your regular job and jump right into, watching the stream.
All right, I'm going to change the angle here a little bit so we can see how this Starhawk is angling. Yep. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. He's looking at distance. So when that MC moves, he's hoping it's going to be in some red range to get some plinking. We'll see. We'll see if he gets away.
Sean, I'm going to agree with you that I'm pretty sure the Rebels are going to win this round.
Agreed. I'll go with that.
Now, chat is telling us really all the good information here. They really are.
They are.
This is making our jobs real easy.
Actually, what? Instead of just commenting, we should just read the chat.
I mean, we
awesome.
could, just completely ignore what's going on with the game. Exactly. And we'll give Garrett Vance a couple thumbs up, saying, yep, that looks good, and just not pay any attention whatsoever.
That's right.
No, we're not going to do that, folks. We're going to continue giving you all the play-by-play action here, round 2 of the last chance qualifier. So the MC-80, Ahsoka is doing something nav to a confire, takes the dial as a nav token.
That's complicated. So they're doing some hijinks with Ahsoka, but you know what? That's what she's there for, right?
I would agree with that one, Adrian, yes. So why else would you bring Ahsoka other than to change your commands?
Why would you? That is literally what she does.
Yes,
literally.
And Sean, you are correct. The Rebels will also lose today. So actually, this is a good matchup for Adrian and I to be talking about because, Adrian, you are historically an Imperial player, and I, generally speaking, am a Rebel player. So we're both going to be happy,
right?
Because we both win.
Real quick, just to answer the chat, the scenario that they are playing is Solar Corona. So we saw the Raddus fleet set up first, and then the Starhawk and the assault figure were able to set up in the side. But man, that MC-80 turned in hard and sped up. So we're gonna see fireworks, maybe even a little. Yeah, it went to speed 3.
Jumping to speed 3. Wow.
You know what? I have a feeling that drop is going to be coming.
I
next
think
round.
turn 3 is going to be the big round. We can see Ryan from here. He's got a little smirk on his face. And he can actually hear us also. So I'm speaking just a little bit louder than usual.
Yeah, if Ken speaks really loud, it's to try to throw Ryan off his game, which is humorous to watch.
This is Ryan Becker of Command Stack,
right.
so part of the Ion Radio stream crew. So if he does not make day 1, he will be joining us in the booth tomorrow.
So Ken, isn't that in his Ion Radio associate contract that he gets berated by you as much as possible during the game?
Oh, I'm going to be nice to him, at least for a little bit. I also want to point out that in a little bit, and I'm not going to say when that little bit is, we might be having a special guest join us, and we will give you more information on that as we get closer.
Very true. Very true. All right, so that Starhawk and MC are it's difficult to judge from the overhead camera, but they're looking like they're almost medium. If not, it's a hair.
I'm going to say they're definitely medium or long. They're right at the border there.
Yeah, it's going to be. There's going to be some shooting going on here.
Is Han Solo on the table? No, Ryan Becker did not bring Han Solo.
I know, right?
I'm a little disappointed by that, actually. I would have figured that Han would have been in the list, because as we all know, that is his favorite squadron.
That's correct. All right, so
Tier 75, activating a generic X-Wing?
Yep. Okay, and it's going to try to bomb that MC-80. So he's going to throw an X-Wing in, and he did it.
He did.
Yeah, one red die. That's a crit. So let's see what happens.
There's the crit.
Yep. He did the thing.
And actually, what we're going to
sounds like he's going to redirect as well.
We're going to leave this up, just because you know what? I think that's going to be easier for you guys at home to see.
Going to the side. Yep, he's just redirecting it. He's just redirecting that X-Wing hit.
So we can keep both things on screen at once.
So let's see. Oh, okay. So it looks like that GR75 only activated that one X-Wing. So the MC80 just has one shield damage, so it's okay.
And that was on the right-hand side, right? I think.
Yeah, it's on the right-hand side. Yep. He redirected too. Okay. So I'm wondering, let's see what that assault frigate does. Maybe he shrewdly put the squadrons within activation range. If it's a squad command, that would be pretty shrewd.
Typical Armada only need one of the three.
Assault frigate
Mark II with the squadron.
Okay. Yep. He was shrewd. So let's see what those X-Wings can do to the front of that MC-80, I'm guessing. And they better get those bombs off now, because Shar and Tycho are going to tie them up.
I was just going to say, as soon as they get in, they're going to get one attack run.
50 Shades of the Rebellion.
It will not be long, and then we're going to see the squadron interactions. I think we're going to see a Raddus drop here on turn 3.
Oh yeah, I think that's going to be what's happening. Oh, did he not put those squads out, or did he have?
Paying attention here.
Yeah,
moving into the squad phase here.
Maybe did he take the token?
I think he may have taken the token.
Okay. All right. I thought he...
James Blackburn, thank you very much. Super chat here. Crit is always going to be a structural damage. Actually, we've had 2 coolant failures, I think, this game. Or today. Previous game. Mm-hmm. And, so definitely we will enjoy some water here. I know you are drinking coffee once again.
Coffee is my blood type. So and hey, actually, you know what? If we can switch angles just for a moment, I just need to give a shout out to Ken, because his edition of the Ion Radio coffee cup it's everything for the stream. This is the lifeblood.
Shara is making a shot here into the front.
Mm-hmm.
Or she just moved up in front.
Moving to the front. Yeah.
Well, we're professional here at Ion Radio.
That's right,
Adrian. That's why we have our own
coffee
cups.
drinkers.
No.
Nice. All right. So looks like Shara. Did he throw Shara?
No, he just moved him forward. What I'm going to
Yes,
say is
but-
Adrian Garrett is giving us a plethora of information. Coffee is definitely life. I agree. I cannot last much
So-
of a day without a cup of coffee.
So if I'm not mistaken, So,
X-Wing
okay, yep,
attacking Shara, and we have, wow,
Oh, okay.
2 hits and
Two
probably
hits and no
blocking the scatter.
Yeah, she'll brace it to
So
one. I'm
brace it to
sure.
1.
Here comes the counter. Right.
Yep,
She braced
counter.
it. Yeah, let's see what this counter does, which is going to be awful. Yeah, I thought so. He threw Shara. All right, pretty good.
Counter, yeah, 3, because Shara with the,
Right.
yeah.
Yep, and that's 3 damage. So Shara's crits count is damage on the counter. I'm well familiar with that, trying to go against her. So that's a bad news counter for sure. But it looks like Shara was thrown into that X-wing ball up there to kind of lock them down, which is good. Tycho likely on that X-wing in the front of the MC-80. So Shara and Tycho doing what they do best: frustrate bombers. Oh man, that's a great Dune reference, Colm. Thank you in the chat. We'll have to read that later. Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Shara's down to 3 hull, X-Wing at 3 hull.
Yep. They're whittling each other down as squadrons are wont to do. All right. So let's see.
So we go.
Man, these are
3
the
hits.
dice are behaving
They really are.
for both players right now. So that's good.
For those that watched, this is X-Wing against
Thanks
Shara.
against Shara. Here we go. Oh, and he's going to... Man, that's brave that they're doing that. I mean, I know they're 5 hull, but that counter...
Yeah.
Man, sometimes how to deal with Shara is just don't
shoot her.
Right.
Yeah. So Shara is down to 1
yeah, I mean, if
hull,
you're going
though.
to need to, yeah.
So let's see what we got here. There's the 3 hits.
Oof, that's 3 hits. Is she going to burn us? Okay, Jan Ors to
Jan
brace.
Ors is bracing.
Yep, makes sense.
Making it down to 2.
To 2. She's oof. So she's at, what, 1 hull now?
Shara's at 1.
Yep.
And then I think we're doing some bigs work here. So, yeah, no, just the
Yep.
1 X-Wing's dropped. The other
Okay.
X-Wing's dropped to 3 hull.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So
that counter
we're
is, like I say, counter's rough.
counter is definitely rough. Continuing watching this squadron battle get played out here.
Yep. Well,
And we've got
oh,
another
man, look
attack.
at
This is
that.
Biggs against
Just
Shara.
perfect.
Block
Look
the
at
scatter.
that.
There goes Shara
There
Bay.
goes Shara Bay.
Early
Well, here
on.
comes the counter, though. She's still
Yep.
going to be able to counter.
Do get
So
a
let's see
counter.
what happens. She's even in death. She's
with
dangerous. That's 2.
2.
That's, yeah.
And this is still turn 2. We
Right.
have an entire 4 rounds of gameplay yet to go.
I know, but you know what? They're just blasting each other, and I mean the dice are well
Biggs is
behaved.
down to 4.
Doing a little measuring here to see how far they can get. Well, now that Shara's out of the way, they can move up with impunity, right?
They really can. I mean, Tico
I mean,
can't really.
But Tycho can't be locked down,
It can't be.
right? But Jan moves in. Okay, nice. The Moldy Crow.
Moldy Crow.
Wow, I would love to just. If that was my ship, I'd name it something different. I think. You know, I mean, you know, what does she hire the remediators to come in and handle all that? You know, is the ship just need a lot of air fresheners? I mean, I don't know.
All right,
Oh,
we
here
are
comes
in. We
the
are in
drop.
turn 3,
Okay.
and here comes the
my
Raddus
goodness.
drop.
It's what we expected.
Look at that
MC75
right
in the grill,
middle.
double. It's interesting. It's interesting that the drop is going to be doubling the front, and I know that maybe it might be a little tough to get around the side, and you don't want to drop. I guess if you drop on either side of that Starhawk, you don't want to give a chance for a double arc. So I guess maybe that's the choice, right? But man, that's gonna be tough.
You've got 2 things going for you here, right? First of all, the Starhawk is not going to be able to move. You've now captured the Starhawk
Right.
where it's at. And when you take a look at, I believe this is, what did we say? Is this an ordnance cruiser?
It is,
All right.
yeah, because it definitely had, as I recall, X-Rax. We'll bring that fleet up for you here.
Give me a sec. We're bringing up the
Yep.
fleet.
So
It is.
Yep. So it's an armored
it's an
cruiser.
armored cruiser, so it's
with
not the
waylays,
ordnance cruiser.
But boarding troopers we
Yeah.
might see come into play, but X-Rax for sure. Quad battery turrets. Interesting. So it's probably going to drop at speed 1, right?
So it's worth noting the armored cruiser at this range, your point blank range. So you've
Oh,
got
sure.
2 blacks, 3 blues out the front, and 3 reds, 2 blues out the side. That is a lot of dice to hit the front end of that Starhawk.
Well, here comes it's going to be the soften up shot from the side,
Yep.
and then you're going to drop that front along
Yep.
with the X racks. I'm thinking, right? You have to soften that ship up, and then even if you keep that ship in place, that MC-80 has got enough, even obstructed, to put a hurt on.
Yep.
You know, and it's the question is how much damage can you pile on the front of that Starhawk?
Yep.
And then be able to deal with the assault frigate coming after, because that's the secondary worry at the moment.
And Ryan's making sure he is only in the front
That's correct.
of the Starhawk. We do have a
Yep.
question. Can we get a reminder of what's on the MC-75? Yes, you can. It's an MC-75 armored cruiser with whale explosives, boarding troopers, electronic countermeasures, external racks, point defense ion cannons, quad battery turrets, and the profundity title.
Yes, correct.
Solar Coronas on the side with the Starhawk. So yeah, we are going into the Solar Corona.
That's correct.
We need a sun model or something.
That's right. We do. We need a
to
Corona
really
model of
showcase.
some kind.
Oh,
Oh,
they're putting
nice.
tickets out.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
this
look
is
at
this
that.
is this is interesting. So, one of our judges is going to place some tickets down on the table.
Nice. All right. Here it comes.
And
Here
here's
it
the
comes.
profundity drop. This is the CR90 with Hondo and Overload Pulse.
Yep.
Because Ryan
right.
is going to make sure he tells us how Overload Pulse works.
Well, we all know how that works. So, yeah, this is going to be very, very rough. The one thing is to make Overload Pulse, where I've seen it, believe it or not. I actually played a game against a CR90 drop Raddus Overload Pulse, and the rolls did not cooperate with that crit. So you just have to hope that the dice continue to behave.
Both
to
of
get
these ships
that
are
crit.
at speed 1.
Yep.
And
That makes perfect sense.
So
All right. So
we're just continuing on. So Ryan's Hondoing.
yep. And I bet he's going to put a Confire on that. Yep,
Confire
that's
on
correct.
the CR90.
See, as I mentioned, because you need to get that reroll in case a crit does not happen.
Agreed.
It's man,
Dice never
25%.
behave.
Well, not for me, but
No,
yeah, 25% chance of getting that crit on those blues. So
Agreed.
I mean, hopefully, we'll see some hijinks here.
Oh, they're
see.
going back and forth, figuring out where they're going. Garrett's going to tell us
Yep.
exactly what ships have what from Hondo.
And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong on this Raddus drop, that MC-75 can't be the first ship to activate.
Correct.
So it's going to be, well, it makes sense, though, because the CR90 can.
Right.
So it's going to be the CR90 trying to get Overload Pulse off. Hopefully Garrett will be able to tell us how fast that CR90 is going. Did he say 1?
Yeah, he did say speed 1 on the CR90.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be a ram. And
It
just
could
try
be.
to take. I mean, well, it will be a ram at speed 1 here. I have seen before where they go speed 4, but you know.
So for Hondo, Ryan has a squad on the MC-75, Confire on the CR90.
Right.
Hank, on the other hand, on the assault frigate is engineering.
And a nav on the
and
Okay, assault frigate's got a repair
the
token.
assault frigate's got a
Repair token. All right. Yep. All right. So it's activating that CR8. Yep. Front to side CR90. I'm betting. Can we get the pip and pip damage box up? Oh, where is that? There we go. All right. Let's see. Does he get the crit? Does it? Got the crit. All right. Well, you know what? His dice behaved as they have been today, so he doesn't even care about damage with the CR90. Really, I mean, it's nice, but you know, we're really he's just looking for that crit so that he can over. So obviously,
Here's the
Starhawks-
overload pulse. This
Well,
is
gonna
what Ryan wants to do.
He's going to spend all of his tokens right now that he can. Why not? They're all going to be orange
Right.
in a minute.
This is Table 13. We are not necessarily going to stream Table 1 the entire time. We want to make sure that we get a good variety of fleets out on the tables here so that everyone can see different fleets in action.
Now, this overload pulse is going to be pretty devastating, even with a gate. even with the extra brace. They're all orange now, and that Starhawk is staring at a double
we are
arc.
salvoing.
Oh, of course.
And bracing this down to 2.
Yep.
So, but yeah, again,
Salvoing that CR90.
Yeah, so the salvo and the brace will stay exhausted. Everything else will drop to an exhausted state. So, this first attack is devastating.
Key.
So now the second one here, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But the question's going to start coming up. Do you want to burn through your defense tokens this early in the game, knowing that you still have that MC-80 behind you with the Liberty, which has got a good, powerful front end?
Yeah, with those 2 bigs in the way of the Starhawk, it's going to be, you're just going to have to, kind of do math in your head. I mean, what can you take? The side shot will be, it's going to be rough from that MC-75, and then the front. I mean, what you've got 2 braces, right? So okay, but no.
So 2 hits and a crit.
Yep.
So
we'll see what happens.
Going into the CR90.
Yep. So the CR90 is going to be
2 to the side, 1 on the front.
Like. Yep. So it's a wounded CR90, but we kind of expected that. So the CR's got 1 shield left on the front, 0 shields on its right hull zone, 2 on the left, and 1 on the back. So it took
accuracy on the salvo, 2 crits coming back.
Yep, from the other
from the CR90 into the probably the side of the Starhawk here.
Yep. So
no salvo.
Yeah, no salvo.
Nice. That's what's
locked out.
Locked.
Makes sense.
And we still don't have boarding teams in use yet.
Well, here's the thing. With the CR90 going first, the synergy is he's going to have boarding troopers dialed up first on that MC-75 because now that everything is orange and that hijinks has worked, boarding troopers is going to go off and they will all go away.
Yeah.
Well, not all, but most of them are going to go away, and it is going to be a crippling blow to the Starhawk's defenses.
Because now all of a sudden it's just going through shields as though you're moving at speed 0.
Yep, absolutely.
Colin, we did move that. I actually just dropped the scoreboard off of the stream there so you could see it better. Starhawk has 1 shield on the left, 4 on the right, 6 up front, 1 on the rear.
I mean, a lot of shields, but we'll see what happens with that Starhawk. Man, that... Whew. Everything is, even though...
And, of course, there's the RAM, obviously.
Put a card on
the CR90 into the Starhawk.
I mean, that CR90 might not be long for this world, but it just did its job.
So we're watching. They're having discussion on how this game is going to get played out.
Yep.
But I have my suspicions as well.
Well, that Starhawk is going to probably activate and probably take out that CR90. It sounds like it's a Confire for the Starhawk.
Starhawk. Yep. Confire. Yes.
Yep. Confire.
So let's see. Where are we shooting here?
I don't know if it's going to... It'll Confire out the front and try to help... Or try to hurt that MC-75.
Before it takes its shots,
Yeah, I mean, with that... And maybe if it can get something through... I mean, maybe... I mean, a crit might help it. But you know what? Honestly, with the Solar Corona being behind it, yeah, it can spin.
I mean, again, those accuracies are going to go away depending on how.
Well, not on his, but I'm.
Well, right, going that direction, but going off to the right of our screen. Keep in mind, if you are within that range, there's your Solar Corona shot.
But honestly, I think he'll take that Solar Corona right out of contention because if he gets rid of those defense tokens, who cares about accuracies? You
that
just
is
go totally for damage. This
fire
is
in, because you don't need the accuracies anymore.
Yeah. Everything.
Hello, Italy. Thank you very much for watching in. We have a side shot from the Starhawk into the CR90 going into the front. And that is 2, 4, 5 damage going into the front.
Oh, there's the Confire, so let's see.
Right.
He's going to add the Confire here.
Is it a red?
Yep.
It is a red. Another hit.
Another crit.
So there is a total of 6 damage.
So let's see what happens here.
Hank's leaving it there.
Oh, we have a judge call. Not sure what the judge call is, but let's see what the question is.
We'll probably figure this out. I'm sure Garrett will let us know.
Yes. Okay,
This
so
is a rules question on
on
discarding tokens.
Yeah. So the ruling from the judges correctly is, can you discard to double the effect as a smaller base ship, and you can discard a red token to get that effect.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or he could have done the green one, but. So a little bit of evade stuff, trying to keep that CR90 alive for
another
one
shot
more
coming up later. I completely agree.
Yep. So I think he should be able to keep it alive, but my guess is 2 to the hull.
That's going to be my compartment fire.
Compartment fire is the crit.
Is our one crit that gets in. We've got
one
a
up,
couple
one
of
down.
so
now there's 3
total damage
because there
on
was
that
the ram
Starhawk.
previously. Yes. So there's 3 damage on the CR90, and
And
no shields in the front,
no shields on the front
right.
or the right. One on the left, one in the rear. It is getting eaten up here.
But that CR90 is hanging in there. I mean, that's like
really
the Rocky
is.
Balboa of CR90s. It's getting just hammered.
Let's see what we got here. We are
And
organizing
front,
some dice, which is always good.
I think he's debating which arc to shoot that front Starhawk arc into. Will it be the front or the side of that MC-75? I don't know what the answer is, really.
Yeah.
I mean, do you give it the opportunity to redirect to the rear away from that assault frigate, or do you shoot the front and soften it up for the assault frigate? Not sure if I know the correct answer.
Well, I mean, here's what you're thinking: is you're going to have a lot of firepower going into that Starhawk. So we were firing into the front of the MC-75, front to front from the Starhawk. Big shot. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 hits with the crits.
Yep. 7.
Okay, LTT goes
gives
to
it
a
a blank.
blank.
So still 7.
Yep.
Crit enabled. And now we're going to do. Let's see here. So that's true. The Confire was last shot. So
Right.
So Hank was going to do a token, but I think that's
you can't do it. You have to do both of them at the
That's
same
correct.
time.
You have to do it at the same time.
Yeah. So yeah,
'cause
ruling
already have done the Confire command.
Correct. So for those listening in.
In the chat, there's a question about the ram and which ship is closer. That we're still resolving the shots for sure, but that's a really good question, guys. It looks really close. I mean, they are both right up against the base. I think it might either be a judge call or if the players can just decide which. But honestly, I think the CR90 is just far enough off it to not get rammed if the Starhawk.
That was a PDIC, by the way.
Okay. Yep. So we'll see.
And this is what we're doing with the MC-75.
So MC-75 is going to brace.
Brings it down to 4.
Yep.
Brace
And he's
to
going
4.
to redirect.
Redirecting.
Okay, so he shot the front. So he's definitely the left side shields are going down. Makes perfect sense to put it away from all the other ships.
Agreed.
So he was trying to soften it up for the assault frigate.
Yep.
Because that Starhawk is going to get walloped in a moment. So we'll see what happens.
And this, again, it goes down to placement of that MC-75.
That's
only being able to hit the front.
I mean,
or fire out the front.
And then we're going to ram. And both players agree that it's going to be the ram into the MC-75. So thanks, everybody, for asking in the chat. But, both players agree that ram is happening out the front. There will be no trying to turn with the Starhawk to ram the MC-90 on the side. All right, so the MC-75 has 1 shield on the front and 2 on the left, 3 on the right and 3 on the rear. So, definitely took a hit on the front.
Keeping tabs on game states here.
Yep. All right. So let's see what so do you... So there's cards being given out from the ram, right? So the MC-75 takes one, Starhawk takes another.
We've got
the patient game
activating here.
Ryan is doing the GR75 or the GR75 with parts resupply. So he's going to get some things distributed. Obviously, he knows that the Starhawk has gone already, and he can just pick the shots that are best to try to drill through it. I'm sure he's not too concerned about that other
the assault frigate.
on the side.
GR75,
the
yeah.
assault.
Well,
the
see,
assault.
I think the assault frigate right now is at medium range, so you're
Agreed.
delaying your need to move your MC75. Not that it's really going to matter, I don't think, because that can't have very much on it. The assault frigate. The assault frigate is like
So here's a thought, though: is he going to try to make that assault frigate move closer?
Yeah.
Shoot from the front arc of the MC-80 into the Starhawk, and then if that side shot and front obstructed shot on the MC-80 is good enough to hurt that Starhawk, because he's first player.
That's true. So
Does he drop that front arc at the assault frigate? Yep. So he piloted well enough not to ram anything with that GR75. It's an interesting idea. He's got some options on how to play those two bigs against the Starhawk.
Right.
Maybe draw in that assault frigate, drop that big front arc blue-black on the assault frigate, and damage both of them heavily.
And actually,
as
with
first player,
with virtually no tokens on that Starhawk,
Yeah.
Assuming we get the boarding troopers to remove a bunch, you still have the MC-80 to back you up.
That's
so
right.
You're right. So it can be a 1-2 punch against the assault frigate, or you make your first shot. At this point, your option, if I'm Hank, I'm moving my GR75, which is going to force your MC75. Well, actually, that's the thing. The MC75 is going to ram the Starhawk.
Well, the MC75 will ram the CR90, mean, right?
The MC75, well, that GR75 would, probably ram the...
the MC75 right now ram the Starhawk. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, the MC75, not the GR75, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's all right.
So if
you're not a Rebel player, that's okay.
Well, these Rebels are tricksy.
GR75, what are we doing with the GR75? We've got squadrons.
Okay. Is anybody in range? Does it have
they
boosted?
Might be. Yeah, it does have boosted.
Oh, if that is boosted, fine. Okay. So we've still got Shara tying down that X-wing.
Boosted command, boosted comms and bomber command.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's trying to stay out of range. Well, how is? Oh, it's because. Is that Jan? No, it's not. Biggs? Does Biggs have grit?
Biggs does not have grit. No. Take a look. Clearing.
Oh no! Wait, my
Biggs
mistake.
is firing at the MC75's front.
Yes. Yep.
So we've got that's a crit.
Well, it's a hit.
I will tell you, Hank's been rolling tons of crits here.
Lots of crits.
Here's the PDIC into one, just regular hit.
Into one.
He's going to take it in the front. There some table talk here.
Table talk. All right, so he's going to go to 0 shields in the front with that hit.
That's off the 75, correct?
Yep.
Yep, 0 on the front.
Yep.
2 and 3 on the left and right side, respectively.
All right, and then in comes, what's the other squad that's going to be activated by that GR? Is it a standard X-wing?
I think it's going to be just a standard X-wing.
Okay.
I doubt you're going to move Jan.
Yeah,
forward.
I doubt you will. Okay, rolling in. Let's see if it comes up with another crit like usual.
X-wing again.
Oh,
to the front.
accuracy.
Oh, accuracy.
Re-roll with that.
That's re-rolled.
Okay, with
one.
Okay. Yep, he's going to take a card.
Yep. So 1 damage into the MC75.
Yep.
Brings him up.
All right. So now the GR75, no armament, so it's going to move. But he's 2. I don't know if he's going to be able to dodge that MC. I think he's going to stay where he's at and just take a card ramming. From what it looks like, I don't know if he can turn enough because he had a squad. If he had a nav, could have done something. But
that's 2 total hull damage on the MC75, just in case anyone's curious. And yes, Shara did die very early on with some killer rolls.
Ganged up on her. Yep, definitely. But they took some serious damage from that counter.
They did. They really did. And we are still in turn 3 here.
I know, right? All right, and now he's checking, trying to find an angle that will get that GR75 out of the ramming situation. I'm not seeing it.
I think
Like,
if you're moving to stay out of a ram here.
See, he's got a double click at the end there, and I don't think that's the movement for.
I'm not sure it'll well, if you've got the nav.
He
but
had
squadrons. So
yeah, so I'm just wondering how that happens.
well, this is a GR75, correct?
Yes.
So GR75 movement is going to be 2 at the end of the
you're
speed
right.
3, so it'll
My
be nothing
mistake.
1 2.
Yeah. So the question will be, did he get far enough?
See, you have this answer. It's because Gazantes don't move as well.
You know,
as GR75.
and you're absolutely right. Oh, and thank you for pointing that out in the chat. Yes, it is my imperial sensibilities that don't understand what this double click at the end is all about. You know, and I think that's just a rebel thing. You know, needing to have that super
they
maneuverable
seem
and
good
on it.
here.
Oh, I guess he dodged
We're
it.
happy.
Nice
All right.
job. Okay, nice job on the dodge.
All right, MC75 being activated.
Yep, here we go. All right,
engineering.
Here
we're doing
comes the boarding
troopers.
troopers. So with engineering, yep. Let's see what. So let's see what goes here. Squad token to boarding troopers. So 2 braces and 1 redirect. Go away.
That's going to hurt.
That hurts.
That is
It
going
really
to hurt.
does, yes.
Let's, I'm going to take this opportunity here. We're going to talk a little bit about boarding troopers. So boarding troopers.
So
let's turn off that
so
other
we're-
cam.
I think we're going to get some shots though.
We are going to go right back to it.
Side to
hang
front.
on. We're going to go back.
Yep. Real quick, because this is going to be he's
So
going to do his engineering
Ryan's,
first.
Ryan's doing engineering. He's going to add some shields. We'll give you an update on that in a second. But so boarding troopers, when you reveal a command, you can discard your squadron dialer token and the boarding troopers card. You will choose 1 enemy ship at close range. You will then choose and spend a number of defense tokens up to your squadron value.
Now, really good to note: overload pulse, exhaust, boarding troopers, spend.
Correct.
That's the synergy.
That is correct, and that's where you get your synergy from the overload pulse. And again, this is the name of the list. That's not
right.
how overload pulse works.
But it kind of did.
So MC75 has increased its shields on the front back up to 3.
Back up to 3, and it makes sense. So we got quad battery turrets. We've got all the reds, all the blues coming.
Okay, so here we go. It's 2, 4.
Here's the side. Here's quad.
This is side to front.
Yep. But he's doing it in the correct order. See what
Right.
you roll. Add that quad in. Yeah, do all the looking. All right.
We talk about adding a Qualifier here.
He's re-rolling with the
re-rolling
token.
With the token.
All right.
Yep.
There's another crit.
It's another crit.
And there's.
Ahsoka adjusted that engineering token to a Qualifier.
Oh,
That's
okay.
how that
Nice.
happened. The MC75 does has 3 squadrons. That's why with 3
So we're removing
spent.
for the Solar Corona.
Yep, there goes the accuracy.
So there's 5 hits. Crit enabled on the front. And he's got 1 redirect.
Right. So let's see what decision we're making here in terms of how to proceed. And I tell you, with the engineering kicking the shields back up on the MC75, that's going to make that harder to kill down the road.
Oh, well, sure. You know, it definitely proofs it a little bit against that assault frigate hanging out in its front.
Rebellions are built on double yaw. There's some truth to that.
Yes.
The MC30s in particular.
All right, so let's see.
JJ Kazani.
All right, so we're looking at. Okay, so he's taking the shields off the front, it looks like, and not doing the redirect. Maybe he is saving that
For this
redirect
next
for the,
shot
for
where the black
big,
dice are gonna come in?
nasty X-Rax. Okay, so
So-
we've got 1 shield on the front of the
Starhawk.
1 on the left,
And
1
2
on the rear.
right.
Man, it's.
Here's
Okay,
this
here's-
next. Here's
here's
the
the next
heavy
shot.
hit. There, I see a double in
Yep,
there.
and he has to remove that accuracy for Solar Corona
Solar
off
Corona.
the initial pool. He's going to blow X-Rax here.
X-Rax is
for
going.
sure.
So there's
Here it
another
comes.
2 black dice. Okay.
for quad.
QBT.
Yep.
The X-Rax.
Oh, there's. Whoa, that looks like 8 to me.
It does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's see what we've got here.
Well, he's gonna have to blow that redirect, otherwise be in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going down. Well, you're not, because you got 14 hull, but still.
Well, sure, but
it's going to hurt.
He'll have no defense tokens left. Yep, he's gonna definitely redirect.
All right. So we have using the contain and
yep,
the redirect.
Sense.
We're going to give you an update on where the shields sit after this redirect here. Garrett's writing it down.
Yep. I mean, he's going to throw everything he can onto that side, I'm sure. And it looks like we're going to be no shields left and 3 hull.
Yeah, I think so.
That's my math here. Let's see if my math jives with what's going on the table.
And again, that Starhawk already had.
Yep. 3 face down.
3 face down now. No shields on the front, no shields on the right. 1 on the left, 1 on the rear. Like Adrian said, this is. I think we're going to see a Starhawk go down.
You know, it's through no fault of that Starhawk's player.
No, I
that
agree.
combo with boarding troopers with no defense tokens is just.
It's
just
something
wrong.
Special, isn't it?
It's something.
Only the
salvo
salvos
is left. Yeah, which makes sense. And it's orange. So,
yes.
I mean, it makes sense he's not going to be spending it right now. It's a ram. Yep, so the MC75 rams that Starhawk, puts another card on it. Now, man, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with that MC obstructed.
I'm curious to see
all those red
what
dice.
This next move is going to be, because the assault frigate's going to be. I'm curious to see what Hank wants to do here, because you're now running a risk.
So the Starhawk has 5 cards on it. The MC75 has 3 cards. But don't forget that first player magic. You know, there's going to be a big double arc coming at that Starhawk next round, which could spell its doom.
I would agree.
But the Starhawk salvo is nothing to laugh at. I mean, it could really hurt that MC75.
Very true.
Especially if this assault frigate softens him up, you know.
And again, we're turn 3.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see if that MC is going to be able to turn left enough to not ram the MC75.
It kind of depends here. I think the answer to that question is going to be no, because a Liberty, although it's a speed 3 ship, it is not the most maneuverable. You're going to get a click at the beginning, nothing, and then at speed 3 you'll get another click.
The problem is that GR75 is so close to its rear, turning might be not a thing. So it's going to try to go front. It's going to try to go straight.
By the same token, if you do it right, assault frigates being activated, they're going to flak. They're attempting to activate squadrons.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Hang on. Question.
Something get bumped?
The squadron on the MC75. They knocked.
Okay.
They knocked the command dial.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a question. They said one thing,
fine.
showed another.
Yes.
They're doing squadrons.
Yep.
Well, Hank is.
Yep.
He's got one squadron kind of hiding in the back there.
And, you know, the nice thing is, even though there's some bumping going on, everybody's super cool. Everybody's like, nope, I know what you had. I know what I saw it.
Yeah.
You know,
again,
there's
sportsmanship just throughout the entirety of Worlds here at AdeptiCon. And this is the last chance qualifier. So this is the most cutthroat part, because only 3 people, we believe, are going to progress into day 1
I
Worlds.
think that's correct.
Which still, that's a decent opportunity to get a chance to get in there.
Right.
But not necessarily a guarantee.
And I think some of the debate on what's going on with the squads is, I think Hank was looking to maybe try to lock Tycho down, but, you know, very nicely, Ryan points out, can't lock Tycho down.
You cannot lock Tycho down.
You cannot keep Tycho down. Can't. Just can't.
And if my wife is listening, yes, it is Tico, not Tycho, but I leave it there.
Is it Tico?
That's what my wife tells me.
You know,
double X-wing into the side of that
X-wing.
MC-75. That is one heck of a
putting in
hit.
some work.
I believe we're PDIC.
Yeah, PDIC.
2-1.
But still won. You know, those X-wings, they like their red dice. All right. You think it's Tico?
Well, Tycho Brahe.
I don't know that, but I like that. If it's Tico and not Tycho, I'll just be the mispronouncing guy.
You know what? Let's say it both ways.
Let's do that.
And that way,
We're covered.
the chat can go nuts. And one of us is right, one of us is wrong. And let's assume for the moment that Adrian is right, and it is Tycho.
I always assume I'm right.
I do have to go home
That's
and
true.
speak with my wife. The last
right.
thing I want to do is get in trouble because I mispronounced it.
That's correct.
Special shout out to my little dog who is at home with a cone on her head. Poor little Ruby, but hopefully she's doing well.
Well, you know what? Even with a cone around her neck, I think Ruby would recognize that. Man, this is a scrum right in the center of this. And everybody is so caught up. I don't think anybody's getting to that station.
I don't think so.
No one's feeling there.
This highlights. Jan is firing into the side here.
Okay.
This highlights one of the things that I find very amusing about Armada. There's a blank.
Oof. All right.
We are playing on effectively a 3x3. If you look closely, you can kind of see where that seam is.
Yep.
And we're even only playing on 2 feet of that 3-foot section. Yep. But yeah, basically Armada's played on a 3x3, but you just have a little bit of room to run around in.
It just depends on what 3x3 you play on. Yeah.
Yes, Google says something different. The Star Wars Wikipedia says something also different. So.
All right. So it looks like there's a debate on who can shoot whom in this squad fight.
See, AJ pointed out exactly what I got there. So yeah, I'm leaving it alone because I refuse to get involved in this. I'm going to say it my way. You guys can say it yours, and we can all be happy because we're playing Armada. And you guys are getting as much of the world's action as we can. Okay, X-Wing into the front here of that MC-75. We've
Very
got
accurate.
an accuracy. There's the hit. It was an accurate hit. It was
Yes.
an accurate hit.
All right. So he
Bringing
is
2 down to
two
the front.
Mm-hmm. 1 on the left and 1 in the rear for the MC-75. So he's got some shield damage, but I mean, he's taking it.
Yeah.
He's taking it in the chops,
I mean, you're right in front of a Starhawk, and you've got all these X-Wings coming in. I mean, you're going to expect a few things. Here's the next shot. I believe this is probably, what do we have here? Front to front.
Front to front.
This is
that was the obstructed MC-80 shot. I'm
Yeah,
guessing? Yep. No, I'm sorry.
No,
the
this
assault
is the
frigate
assault
shot.
frigate.
Yep. Sorry. Okay, and he's going forward 1.
Yep.
Question mark. Ooh, will he fit? He'll fit. He'll fit. That's a nice medium base. Not quite going. Or is he gonna try luck? He's gonna go forward and try to get a double. Ooh, that's gonna be close. That's gonna be real close.
We're going to see some Rams, and that MC-75 on its next turn is going to be able to do something. So here's the Liberty in the back.
Yep, the Liberty
with
obstructed.
What did he have? Was that a nav, I believe? Yes.
Yep, nav dial. So I don't know what's. Oh, he was going.
It's going to be
before.
obstructed. Yeah.
Ooh, that's
we're going to look at an obstructed shot. Looks
Unless
to be
he's got
medium
token.
range. What do we got here? 2 reds.
Oh, yeah.
3.
Jiminy Christmas.
3 is one of
Those
those.
red
I
dice are hot.
hate leveraging a brace
he
on a
can't brace
3,
it.
but he can't because
and he
he's out
can't
of
redirect
because
because there's no shields. So that's going to be all hit. Well, first one face up. So we'll see what that.
What do we
crit is.
have here?
There's really nothing he can do.
There really isn't. So the face-up card is power failure.
Okay, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Power failure, engineering value reduced in half. That's going to hurt.
That's going to hurt, but that's 3 more cards. So now that brings his total to 8.
To 8 total on the Stark, yes.
Man, and we know on it, on a double arc first player, that MC75, especially with no braces and no defense tokens, is perfectly capable of doing 6 damage.
That Starhawk up.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see what we have.
Yep, Starhawk's at 8 damage, which is correct, Garrett says. So, Ken, after that thing rams its own ship, because it's looking pretty like that, unless it can somehow turn enough to bounce back onto the station, which I don't think it will.
The double arc I'm referring to is the MC75, not the MC80.
Correct. So for next round, we know that the Raddus drop fleet is first player. So it is sitting double arcing the front of that Starhawk, and it's going to be at short distance to that assault frigate, is my guess. So is the answer that side shot does 6 damage? If it doesn't, it has the choice to do the front shot to finish off the Starhawk. If not, it can just open up on the assault frigate.
Right.
And man, this is some prime double arcing Raddus drop hijinks.
This is a beautiful play by Ryan with dropping Raddus and really putting and positioning his ships in a way.
I don't think Garrett can hear us, but I'm going to ask him if he sees if that assault frigate has a double arc on the front of the MC75. I don't know. No, it's just okay. So Garrett actually did hear me because he is sharp-eared. He's a
How many
sharp-eared
cards on the Starhawk? We have 8 damage on the Starhawk right now.
Yep. So half engineering value, 8 damage, no shields, and only a salvo token left on that Starhawk.
So now I'm curious here if Ryan's going to be able to keep it on the table, or if it's going to bump the
he's
MC75.
He's going to be ramming the 75.
But that's the thing, is I think he's going to wind up hitting that transport and staying right where he's at.
So there's a judge call because this is wonky. But I believe what's going to happen is, even though he's overlapping the MC75, because the rear kicks out and hits that MC75, that's the closest ship, he's going to end up ramming the MC75, staying right where he's at. And that's my thought here. So let's see what the judge does, but I believe the correct call is move back to speed 1, and it's going to be the MC75 that gets rammed, which actually is good for Ryan. He doesn't want another card up front on that MC75 to get eaten by the.
So it's going to overlap a ton of squadrons.
But it's going to overlap them. But they got to put that ship back. See,
does it fit?
It's definitely an overlap. And then that is going to overlap the GR75.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned,
like I said, he's not going to move, and the flotilla takes that damage.
The flotilla takes the hit. Yep. Which keeps cards off the MC75, which actually is, I mean, whether that was planned or not, that's pretty good for Ryan.
Yep. And definitely hats off to the judges here for helping out, making sure that we are doing things correctly.
I just got and shout out. I mean, obviously they're judges for a reason, but I mean, the judges here at AdeptiCon, top notch. Always Johnny on the spot, always with the right call, even with the complex stuff. The judges are on it.
And if you haven't seen it, go back, check out the Road to Adepticon coverage here that came out just a couple days ago, where I talked to all the judges and get their opportunity to talk about Armada, to talk about why they became judges and everything else.
Looks like we're starting round 4. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's quite all right.
It looks like parts resupply was refreshed by Ryan on his flotilla, and they're setting their dials. Getting ready for, like I say, I think we're going to see that. Honestly though, does that CR90 take an overload pulse shot at the assault frigate obstructed? Because that assault frigate could, when that Starhawk goes away eventually, take that side shot at the CR90 and get points. Does he try to do it? I think maybe
that's a good question. I think my view here. Now here's another tough question. If you're Ryan, what do you activate first? Do you activate the MC75 or do you activate the CR90?
I think it's MC75.
I would agree. We're going to find out here momentarily. We're setting things up here for round 4.
Having that Starhawk going, you can't let it go. You just can't let it go.
Okay, we're beginning round 4. players are really looking.
Yep,
MC-75.
here he goes.
Engineering
Command. Okay, so he's going to get some repairing done. He takes a card off. Okay,
Repairing
nice.
some damage.
Yep, makes sense. And he's going to move a shield.
Yep.
Yep.
Moving a shield.
Moving a shield. Yep, side to front. You know what? It's almost like we're looking at a crystal ball about this activation thing.
So we have 2 shields on the front and sides, 1 on the rear on the
let's see what this is.
MC-75.
Oof! Okay.
So we had a quick roll here.
So
this is MC-75 into the front of the Starhawk.
and
we've got that goes away with
correctly
Solar
stating
Corona.
Solar Corona.
And we have
5.
5.
Yep.
Keeping tabs here on what's going on.
Yeah, this will be so 3, 4, 5. So this will be, and he's going to salvo, of course.
Okay,
That makes sense.
Might as well at this point.
Yep, might as well because it's green again. So it's 5. If it's a structural, he could go away.
He could.
So let's see what happens. If this is a structural, that Starhawk is gone, or it's going to take a second shot.
Because we have.
No, it won't.
No. Because the
It'll be a
Starhawks. Yeah.
So he'll take that front shot at the assault frigate and ram the Starhawk. Man, Ryan's positioned very well here.
Projector missile line.
But no shields.
No,
so
no big
I mean,
deal.
actually, that's probably the best crit he could have gotten here.
I mean, this is a case where sometimes the crit you get is not bad. It's
usually the most horrible.
Yeah. Well, if John from the channel was playing, that'd be the worst thing ever. 13 damage. So we have 1 left.
So here's the call. Does he shrewdly shoot the assault frigate and use the ram to kill the Starhawk? I think that would be the way to go, but let's see what happens.
Well,
there's the salvo.
This is going against. This is salvo first. So
yep, salvo first. Because why get another salvo? That's 3. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is not bad. You bring up a good point. I don't know because you don't want to give the Starhawk an opportunity to shoot.
Well, but the ram will kill it.
You can potentially move the MC-75 though to ram. Correct.
Yes. So to do the 1 damage left, I think the correct move would be to shoot that assault frigate. So let's see if he does it.
Yeah, no shields on the right side of the MC-75.
Here it comes.
Fire at the Starhawk. Starhawk is
fired
going
at the
away.
Starhawk. Okay, so he decided not to, but he'll still ram the assault frigate. Yep. He's going to ram, but he needs to try to come back, I think. Yeah, he's trying to double arc that. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He's just too close. So let's see what happens with this turn.
So now we're moving the MC-75. I think we're going to wind up seeing a ram here.
All right. All right, I think if he moves forward 1.
This is why you don't work during Worlds. You just go ahead and watch Worlds.
There you go.
We are not advocating you don't do your jobs at home, folks, but feel free to listen in. And this is all being recorded. You can watch it all later.
So that turn is definitely going to be a dial-on-dial action. He's going to run over some squads. Yeah, the MC-75 is going to have to do some work here to stay out of danger. Oh, I'm just seeing this now, Ken, but the CR-90 looks to have a real nice double arc on that assault frigate. So some choices will have to be made. So let's see what's happening here. All right, they're doing some measuring. I think there's some very important decisions being made here about what exactly is going to happen. Does that GR-75 go? It's not going to be shooting anything, but that assault frigate is kind of in a precarious position. So much debate being made. It's the scrum in the center it's really hard to kind of think of what's going next, but it looks like Hank is going to be activating. Let's see what he just pulled a dial. So the assault frigate is activating, and let's see what that dial is. It's a squad. All right, so he's going to try to get those X-Wings in to do some work, and maybe even a Jan. So let's see. So Assault Frigate in with a squad command. Let's see what happens. Maybe going for some points on Tycho? Maybe? Or is he going to just hit the GR75? All right, soften up to GR75 maybe? Choices.
Just paying attention. I'm so excited by everything going on here. I had to pause for a little second, guys, as I was getting things set up for our special guest to join us. I think at the state that we're in right now, we're probably going to have him join us right at the end of this game, because I think we're getting close to that here. We might be able to go one more round, and I think that's about it.
Yep, I think so. So let's see what these squads are going to do. Will it soften up that MC-75 enough to strip its shields so that the assault frigate can do some work? We'll see. We will see. Hank is definitely baiting. Okay, so here we go. Some dice are being gathered. Yep, an X-Wing accuracy. Reroll with a crit. All right. So he's PDI-C'ing this. Oh, my goodness. A crit. PDI-C'd into a double.
Ooh,
that is
hurts.
X-Wing pain. Oh, my goodness.
You are not kidding. That is definitely X-Wing pain.
All right, so there go the shields on the MC-75. This could be dicey. Dicey. See what I did there, Ken?
You know what? I was containing my laughter.
Were you? Okay.
I really was.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no words, Adrian. No words.
Man, red dice, first game and this game have been absolutely on
They've
fire.
They've been something else.
Look at this, another double. He's going to PDI-C it. What is it? Okay, well, that kind of averaged it out. So double PDI-C'd into a blank. All right. All right, so let's see what happens now. It's moving, doing a little bumper pool there with some of the squads, but it's all right. It's coming over to the side with a few shields. So let's see what it does. Here it comes. It's
another hit.
Yeah. That might be a card. Oh, he's going to redirect it. Okay,
yep.
He'll redirect to the side or the rear side. Okay. Okay, redirected it to the side. Now who's coming in now? All right.
Well, at this point now, it's critical to take down that MC-75. You already have a little bit of damage on it. That assault frigate can only do so much, and if you go into the next turn, it is going to just hit so hard.
And we've absolutely already established from Garrett's eye in the sky that it is not double arced. So that front arc is the only thing that assault frigate's going to be doing to that MC-75.
Right.
Oof. Well.
That's another 4 or 5 hits.
That's a lot here,
5,
yeah.
With crits, no accuracies, solar chrona's not an issue.
Nope. All right. Oh, so that was against the squad.
The squad. So.
Yep. All right. So he countered.
No real change there.
Nope.
MC-75, 3 damage on it. No
Scanner
front or right shields. So port side still has a shield. The aft still has a shield.
Yep. All right, so now that's 1 black. That must be Janor's.
Yeah.
And he's going to PDI-C it, because why not? Can't get any worse, right? And it's 1.
It's still 1.
So he takes a card for that.
Yep.
Takes a card for his trouble. So 4
I think
cards.
that brings us to 4 now.
It does, yeah. 4 damage cards on an MC-75. Oof. This is going to be rough.
We're really running to
well, they're
a quick conclusion.
Well, the thing here is the MC-75 going to survive? I think it does. And then as first player,
I think it will. It really depends on how hard it can hit the assault frigate.
Yep. Well, and how hard the assault frigate hits it.
Yes. Well, and that's really going to be the question, isn't it?
Yep. So here comes the assault frigate shot. All right,
so assault frigate
great.
into the CR-90 here.
Sorry.
So there he's firing at the CR-90.
Oh, is he? Okay.
And this is the side arc going into the front of the CR-90. That is 2 damage.
Yep. That's interesting.
Oh, I'm loving what's in the comments here. Clearly, sitting close to me doing any level of presentation does have its side effects. Definitely, I have the Anakin splash effect when it comes to presentation.
There you go.
At least from an audio perspective.
All right, so all those hits from the assault frigate has just taken out the CR-90. That was a safe point value shot.
Yep.
Okay,
I would
from
agree.
the side.
I would agree.
Now here comes the front. Oh, double blanks. That is brutal.
So assault frigate's now going
Assault
to the
frigate will live.
MC-75. And,
Well, the assault frigate's going to try to. If it rams that, I don't know if that's really a good idea. But I don't know if it might be too close to do anything. But
tough to say. It's going to be interesting.
Well,
but I don't think we're going to hit hard enough to take it down.
No, well, the thing is that assault frigate going to be able to turn in enough to be only in the front arc of that MC-75? Because if it tries to get anywhere to the side or kicks out too far, yeah, I think that's the right
the
call.
likelihood here is it's just going to ram and be in a position where
if it rams, it hurts itself though.
Right.
And do you really want to give the MC-75 that front shot to try to get through? This is rough. This is rough.
No, it is, and I agree with Colm here. Getting the you don't want to get the overload off of that CR90.
Yeah.
So it was important to knock it off and make sure that it was not something that you were worried about in contention.
Right. All right. So let's see if this actually makes it. It does. Oh, it's close.
It's close.
Yeah,
The
but it
models
makes
are
it.
touching. Fortunately, in Armada, if the models can hit each other,
Yep.
it's the bases that matter.
So here, I believe. Okay, so no ram, but here's the thing: that assault frigate is now double arcing the front of the MC-75. And
Agreed.
the MC-75, I believe, only has the front arc to get the job done.
Activating the MC-80 now.
is going to try to soften up that front arc of the assault frigate to make that first player front arc shot of the MC-75 effective enough to kill it.
Right.
By no means a foregone conclusion.
Medium
But
range, that is a
holy
lot
cow,
of
what a
lot
roll.
of dice.
He has
Wow.
to take one out for Solar Corona,
Solar
which he
Corona.
does, but Jiminy Christmas, that's
Three,
that's
six with an accuracy.
with an accuracy. And
with XI7, so
XI7s,
you're going to block your
oof,
brace. You're going
that's
to be
gonna
able to maybe
drill.
reduce. That's going to
Yep.
go through those forward shields.
No brace.
He's blocking the brace, which makes sense.
XI7,
So
yep.
yeah, you're going to take 5 damage to that front.
That good roll may have set up that first player death for
I would
Assault
agree.
Frigate.
I would agree.
What a roll, man. The dice have just been on fire.
They have been.
Yep. It's amazing. So Hank is so let's see what he's going to be doing. He's going to redirect 1 for sure. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember. Does that assault frigate have ECM on it? It doesn't, does it?
I don't think it does. No.
Oh.
That assault frigate.
Let's just confirm. Just confirm.
That assault frigate. That is not the right list. The assault frigate has
It does
flight
not.
controllers and
That's
boosted comms on it. That was
All
it.
right, so it is going to be really hurt.
That was the evade.
Okay,
We're
evade and redirect.
Keeping the 1 hit though, so we're still 2, 4, 5.
So those shields
so-
go away.
yeah.
Just redirecting 1.
Waiting to get a slight status update here
Right.
from the table side.
Oh, it's interesting. So he is going fast. So let's see what happens.
Assault
All
frigate
right.
now has no forward shields.
1 damage on it.
Yep.
0 shields in front. Okay.
And now we're really taking advantage of the maneuverability of that MC-80 Liberty.
Man, Ryan is doing a really good job with this particular maneuver.
Yeah.
He's gonna. He looks like he's
might
gonna take a rock.
He might take a rock. Might take a rock.
But if he does, the effect will happen, and he may be able to scooch that rear of the base onto the station. Let's see. Because those big bases.
From
it's
here, I think
close.
that's going to be a
It's
rock.
A rock and only a rock.
And only
It's
a rock.
close. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a rock and only
Hang
a
on,
rock.
he's straightening it out because he moved the squads.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Did he get it?
Let's
Did he
see.
get it?
He got it.
Did he get it?
See? Yes, so it's going to be a face-up. The effect will happen, and then he'll be able to remove the card.
Asteroid, the station too, or no? No, he just missed the station.
He missed the station?
Okay,
so Garrett is telling us only the station. Man,
we're going to get our face up. What is Ryan going to pull out? We see
that looks so close. Wait a second. Was that correct? And the station, yes. So,
wait,
so
we
got
a judge call for the station.
They're saying plastic on the station only, but I think that's good. I think it's I think it's the base, the plastic base.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so the face up is going to happen and the effect happens.
We're going to keep looking on as the judges are reviewing here.
All right, so we're gonna get the sorry. We're gonna get the call. And it looks like they're going to place the squadrons now that the ship has settled and the yep, let's see here. All right, so they're going to place these squads out. The careful placement where it can do the most damage, but still be in range of that MC-75, I think is the thought process here. Ryan very carefully looking at where the shields are here. All right, so let's see where he puts this final ship. Man, he's going to be hard-pressed to get out of the way of anything, I think, as it is a GR75. And even though it does double-click at the end. Let's see. So it was asked in the chat if he healed the two squads in the station. They didn't move. They're just being placed. So, yes, if you are ending your turn or your movement on the station, you get to heal. But if you are just moving them there as far as placement after being overrun, then you do not heal. And I am going to sign off for a minute here. Ken is going to get back on the mic. He had a brief step away for a very special and important guest. Ken, over to you.
See,
sir.
you're just giving me all kinds of
I'm giving you the setup.
Is what you're doing. But okay, guys, I'm back here. And we do have. We're going to continue talking about the game as it goes on, but we're seeing how this is going. So hello everyone, and with me is Will Shick.
Hello everyone. How are y'all out there?
So hopefully everyone is. We're going to continue talking about the game as we go on. So thank you very much for once again joining us here at Ion Radio in Armada. We got some exciting games here right at the beginning already. And this one clearly moving along as you would expect. But we've got a whole bunch of questions for you. We know your time is limited.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to just make sure we kind of hit some of them real quick. So last year you were in the booth with us. We were talking AdeptiCon. And you were talking about your garden growing with the release. And that kind of covered Rapid Reinforcements 2. And your analogy said that you were planting a seed with all that. And that eventually you're hoping that it stays and like a bonsai tree grows the way you want it to. But sometimes it goes out of bounds and will dominate a tournament scene, I think were your specific words. So you came out with an errata a few months ago specific for that covered a lot of Rapid Reinforcements too. So how did Atomic Mass Games come to the decision of creating that errata, and what were kind of those key ingredients to snip the plant, so to speak, now that we're here at Worlds, and it's definitely changing the competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one was, one of the things we really wanted to do was, you always want to push those boundaries. You want to find new places to go and how to kind of grow the game in exciting ways and maybe do some things that aren't expected or that may lead to, more exciting play patterns that break meta or things like that. Rapid Reinforcements 2, obviously, I think it pushed a little too hard. In our internal testing, it was like, okay, this stuff is playing very strong, it's playing very powerful, but the exciting feedback that we were getting and kind of the census was it is very good, but it's not necessarily breaking anything. It will push, it will push the comfort of the metas in certain ways. It will take certain fleet compositions in different ways. And so we felt confident with where we were on that based on the feedback we were getting, based on the results that we were seeing, that we were going to get what we wanted out of that set of, it was overall a smaller set than the first rapid reinforcements.
Eight carts instead of more.
But our goal was kind of to have a strong impact with a smaller set of things. So we were really looking again for those things that were going to make players a bit uncomfortable in a way, and that it was going to challenge them, right? Not in a fun way, and to give some additional options, to give some ways to think about the game that might be new. And obviously when you do that stuff, sometimes those seeds can grow out of control, or they grow in ways you don't expect. As we always talk about when it comes to playtesting and development and design, we do everything we possibly can internally to make sure that everything we're doing is in line with the game, it's healthy for the game, that there's balance there, but we're playing in imperfectly balanced situations. So what does that mean? And every time you release something to the world, the number of games that get played in the first week typically eclipses everything you could have done over the last 2 years.
Oh, of course.
And there's so many smart people out there and so many clever players. That's part of the joy of it. The goal with development is not necessarily to say, okay, we know everything this thing will do. It's to say we've kind of stress test all of the cases that we can see, and we think we have accounted for all the things in which it could potentially have a more game-breaking effect.
Right.
And over the course of several months, the initial conversation went the way we expected, with people kind of freaking out and being like, "Oh my gosh, this seems really good. Here's a lot of different ideas and thoughts about it. Here's ways in which we think it's broken." And from our testing, we were like, "I don't think that's going to exactly play out the way that people want." But through the community's intrepid testing and playthrough of the stuff, turned out that we did miss a couple of those cases, and that things were pushing the boundaries a little bit too hard.
Sure.
So from there, the next step, and I think this is the hardest ones for players, and I know it's the hardest ones for developers as well, is that when you start to see things that seem like they're more of a problem than you expected, or that they are breaking the boundaries, is to not instantly react, right? Is to not knee-jerk. Because every time you make a knee-jerk reaction and you do a quick change, it means that you're potentially not testing the ramifications of that change very well. It can potentially mean that you're hurting something else that's in future development. There's a lot of interconnectivity to that. And so from our standpoint, the way that Atomic Mass typically operates is that we will identify those issues and then we will sit and watch. And that can lead to, things spiraling a bit and becoming more negative as people realize, okay, this is the way to play. These problems aren't going to go away. Now people are really compounding them by learning how to better break them in certain ways. So you do get a little bit of darkness before the dawn. But that process is super important, because as the community is going through it, we're taking in all the data from everywhere we can. We're using the community feedback and the things we're seeing from tournament results and online conversations and places like Ion Radio that are talking about it, right? And we're assimilating those into our internal testing. We're having testers go back and look at it, and we're coming up with solutions, and we're iterating on all of these different options and opportunities. We're also we're also hoping that the community will kind of solve its own problems in some ways. And that's the mark of a good, perfectly unbalanced game, right? Is that there are always solutions yet to be found. And what you don't want to do, again, is to knee-jerk and potentially cause more problems or different problems than trying to solve the problem. But then the other issue, right, is you don't want to jump in and fix the community's concerns or challenges without giving them a chance to address them themselves. Because I think that, we talked about this last year, I think as well, is that the thing that makes these games so much fun, so engaging, and so exciting is the fact that the players get to be the innovators. They get to be the ones that come out and say, well, X, Y, or Z is dominating the meta. No one seems to be able to beat it. And it just takes that one player to think about outside the box and come up with a solution. Ideally, they have the tools to do that. And then all of a sudden, the meta breaks, a new meta forms,
right,
and rinse and repeat, right? And that's what brings us back year after year to see these LCQs. It's why it's so exciting to watch these players from all across the globe and how they approach these problems and these game plans. And so that was kind of it. It was, it was a lot of, okay, we've gone a little too far. Let's pull back. Let's try a bunch of different options and thoughts. I think we went through about 5 different versions of Anakin during our internal testing. talking about can we maintain what we originally want? How do we better like fix some of the problems and the pressures he's putting on the game and things like that. So it was very much a very busy behind the scenes time for us. Even though from the exterior, as it always does, people kind of sit there and they're like, well, why aren't they doing anything? And it's like, from the external perspective, we are a lot of the time saying, okay, well, let's work on this a little bit, but let's also see how it turns out. And it's always a gut check of finding that right moment where you're like, okay, this errata, we're very confident in it. We don't think the problems are necessarily going to go away. Let's go ahead and drop this and believe that this is going to be the thing that fixes everything.
And actually, the errata that came out, a lot of players, myself included, believe that this is probably the most balanced Armada has ever been, ever.
Well, we nailed it.
So you nailed it. So now every change you've got to run by us before you. No, I'm kidding.
Fair. That's fair.
We did have a handshake on the table. It looks like they're done, but we kind of already knew that was going to happen. We will update you guys with that as we get to them. But we've got more questions for Will. He's going to stay with us for just a little bit. So, again, like I said, Armada right now is in a really good balanced state. And going along with everything you said, there's a lot of areas in the game for exploration, whether that's characters, ships, concepts, etc. But one area that I think there's area to move, and a lot of players have expressed interest in, are keywords and officers that are kind of set for future expansions. So what kind of ideas and creative directions do you guys want to take to move that next level of incremental improvements to Star Wars Armada? As an example, maybe you mentioned this last time, alternative game modes. We've seen stuff in X-Wing with like some of the new scenario packs. So maybe that's something, or a campaign for Armada. So I'll be quiet and let you talk here now. So
I mean, honestly, it's a great question. It's one that, of course, we have to be. I can't give a lot of details on because we don't like to talk about future developments or things because everything does shift. But I think overall, right, like our goal with all of the games, Armada included, is to create the best Star Wars version of the game that we're making, whether that's, large-scale fleet engagements with Armada, whether it's squadron-based starship battles with X-Wing. But from our perspective as well, the thing that, and I think this lines up a little bit with the talk about, like new fleet commanders, new squadron leaders, things like that. And you see this in the rapid reinforcements kind of idea. The stable of ships, well, obviously not complete yet for the two new factions, right? The Clone Republic,
right,
and the Separatists. They still have ships that have yet to be really explored. But the place I think where that's really interesting, and as seen in the development of X-Wing as well, is you can take the same chassis, but if you apply a different pilot or a different commander or admiral to it, all of a sudden the abilities and the synergies and the combos that you can create really radically differentiate. So there's a lot of exciting potential there that from a manufacturing and production development can be done relatively quickly, or done through print and play, or done through other things. So I think that is definitely one where we're always looking at, okay, how can we have the greatest impact and attribute the most value to the game, both for the players and for the play environment, in ways that make the best sense for all involved, right? There's always factors in everything that we're looking at in terms of just we are beholden to Asmodee, and as a studio, our publisher expects us to be making things that are going to be very exciting in the community. They're going to do well on store shelves and all of that stuff. So you play a bit of that as well, and you look. And again, this goes back to the conversation we had last year, which was about value. Right. And you can just make a lot of new things. It's very easy to just say, okay, well, let's just make all of these new things. The problem is that if only one or two of those things actually add significant value to the game, if only one of those two of those things are like good, or they shape the meta in different ways, or they add something that players actually want or want to use to explore, then the rest of that stuff is kind of just noise. And if you put too much noise out there, it does kind of start to dampen down and hurt the game. Not just from there's too many options, but only some of them are good perspective. So why am I, as a player, incentivized to go get these things? But also from a development standpoint, you say, okay, well, our goal is not to have things that aren't good, right? Varying levels of good, right? Perfectly in balance. But the more noise you have, the harder, of course, it becomes to make sure that all of those things are really like humming along, right?
Right.
And so when you get to that point where the community's feeling really good after the last errata, the game feels like it's in the best state it's ever been, you then have to take a step back and say, okay, now we're in a place where we have to be very careful because we don't want to disrupt that too much. We do want to push the bounds.
Oh, of course.
But you also say, okay, well, it's looking very, very good. So now we have to be extra. It's a lot easier to go into chaos and be like, well, let's try some things. Let's slap some paint here. But once you're getting close to that like perfect composition, you go, okay, should we add the tree there, or should we add a bush here, or maybe we put and so I think that's that really like what comes down to it. I think more game modes for me. From my standpoint as a player, I love it when I have lots of ways to play with my stuff, right? When I have cool multiplayer scenarios, when I have things like the Summa All Things, right?
I was going to bring that one up.
One of my favorite things that Michael Plummer worked on overall, because I think it's such an interesting, like, here's a big monster and it's coming out and it's ruining everybody's day. I want to play as the big monster next, right? Like so those kinds of iterations and the ways to like bring people to the table in different ways, especially when you have a game environment that, where kind of Armada is at, where people are very happy with it. It seems like the meta is very healthy. People are finding those counters and those removes. Now that onagers have kind of been pulled back in line, which was definitely one of the things, we talk about data points a lot. And a lot of that errata, especially around those ships, really came out of the data we got from last year's AdeptiCon and seeing what the list compositions were like, having also looked at the community chatter and the online stuff. So, what will we see from this year? There's always going to be tweaks,
of course,
to make. But I personally would love to see more play experiences. Those are the things that really excite me. I know there's ships that are out there that still like call people's names and they'd love to see. There's a potential, there's always a hope that we get to make more cool miniatures.
Of course.
Studio loves that.
Yes.
So I think, overall, like there's a lot of potential. A lot of it has to be balanced against, what brings value across the board to everyone. And then, of course, how everything works within the ecosystem of Asmodee as a distributor and publisher and everything else. So yeah, I don't have any like exact specifics, but I think there's no end of opportunities and ideas that we have playing around internally that we'd love to get to at some point.
Well, that's great news to hear. Now, we've been talking a lot about what we've been changing due to AdeptiCon's information. Like today, we've got 40 players here, last chance. And tomorrow, if the numbers are correct, we're going to get very close to 120 Armada players, which if I'm right in chat will probably tell me, and if they don't, someone on the internet will. But that, I think, is the largest Armada tournament ever. So, I mean, 120 players is huge. Even if we had like 116, that's big. But that's only a fraction of the play base for Star Wars Armada. And I know that I've got a lot of folks that watch us here on Ion Radio where they're kitchen table players. And the OP kits that were released last year brought a lot of those people out to the stores. And some of them are here today for Last Chance. Some of them are going to be here tomorrow for Worlds. So, when you look at this array of kitchen table players, and, if you look at Armada as a whole, take Shatterpoint as an example. There's a whole hobby aspect of painting up your miniatures. We talked about that last time. When you blow it up, it doesn't look great and everything else. You get the pre-painted ships, and the bulk of the player experience is not the hobby aspect. It's the playing of the game. So with the kitchen table players in mind, how do you cater to that group and then kind of keep them involved in the active communities?
I mean, I think the big thing, right, is obviously, we look to things like the in-store tournaments. We look to things like organized play kits to draw interest from those kitchen table players. That can be really important. Active communities in general in areas obviously draw people in, right? Like, as folks are looking for things, if they see there's a regular game night. And we're working on a lot of different ways to try to provide support across the board for Atomic Mass Games, working very closely with Asmodee and their distribution units. I think one of the big things that, one of our big motivating factors and one of our kind of calling points over the last year or so has been, okay, we've been out of the pandemic for a while now, and we've returned to like amazing Adepticons, and they've grown every year, and we're seeing, record high Armada, Legion, X-Wing, everything this year is just bigger than ever. But I don't think that we quite have re-hit our stride in terms of the overall player experience in store, of like reaching out to those people who started playing maybe during the pandemic and have only played on the kitchen table.
Right.
How do we incentivize those folks to come in and start to become part of like the re-emergent community of us getting together and getting to hang out and do the things that these games really love to do. And so, I think it all comes back again to that local community, that LGS kind of focus, and how do you motivate people to do that? And then this goes back, I think, just to continue to harp on my favorite thing, play modes, right?
Yeah.
Like having those interesting scenarios. Tournaments and standard like play is great. The base game is the meat and bones of the entire experience, but being able to excite people over some kind of like wild scenario, seeing seeing a monster on the table that's like running around doing stuff, seeing a Super Star Destroyer, which technically you can play in normal play,
Sure.
but it's like every time that comes out and someone's like, well, we're just going to play a game of Armada, but I'm using a Super Star Destroyer, I'm always like, this is more than just a game of Armada, right? Like visually, it's incredibly impressive. So
It is.
So finding those opportunities to like really draw the imagination of people and say, hey, come out, give this a try, discover this great group of people that you then can become engaged around and really start to like interact with, and that will lead you maybe it'll lead you into tournaments, maybe it'll lead you into like campaigns, maybe somebody will be inspired to do a league of some type, and just trying to have those things in place. I think that's kind of the biggest step that we can make, is always like, how do we connect communities, and then working with the great like community resources like yourself and everyone else who do that community outreach just because you have a love of the game and you have fun streaming other people's like events and coming here and like doing the whole thing, right? Like there's so many offshoots of these things as well that it's fun to watch how these kind of lifestyle hobbies can evolve and grow into their own little microcosms with all these different people contributing all this different stuff that all goes back to the health of the overall game.
Oh, definitely. And I think one of the things that's unique about Star Wars games is that a lot of us, when we were growing up not all of us, because some of you guys are younger than I am, but you're growing up in the early 80s, late 70s, and you're watching these movies, and you loved it, and you were playing those games when you were 4 to 10 years old. You're playing with the Kenner action figures. I was basically playing Star Wars Armada back then with giant Millennium Falcons from heaven, from Kenner and whatnot. But anyways, you mentioned the Super Star Destroyer. It's huge, it's big, it's impressive, and it has this great table presence. And that's one of the best parts about Armada.
Yeah.
People have been walking by all day, just stopping. They look at the table, they love what they see, and that's just kind of the fun part of this game and the Star Wars games in general, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing, there's very little less iconic. Like you could say lightsabers.
Sure.
Star Wars has lightsabers, but the whole Star Wars journey opens with that Superstar or with that ISD, that Star Destroyer coming over after the little Corellian Corvette, and it's like, oh, it's pretty big. Oh, it's still going. It's still going. Holy crap, that thing's huge. And the triangle design and everything they did, like, it's burned, I think, into everyone who's ever even heard about Star Wars' like memory. This collective consciousness of that thing is the Star Destroyer is cool. The Super Star Destroyer is epic.
Yes.
But yeah, like I was just watching the table over here and I was looking at everything. It's like, yeah, this game just looks so good on the table.
Doesn't it?
It's
It's
so
great.
good.
All right, so quick lightning round. These are going to be quick
let's do
questions. We've got 3 of them for you. So first of all, what's your favorite ship that's currently in Armada?
Man.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the hard one.
That's a tough one. I kind of get to cheat though. So the Venator is my favorite.
Okay,
like
that's
flat
fair.
out. Before that was available though, if you'd asked me before, I would have said the Imperial Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
But even though the Republic version, I don't entirely understand the double bridge idea. I love it. It has all of the things I like about the Star Destroyer, but it's a good guy version, so I'm
Totally
in.
fair.
I'm
Totally
in.
fair. Okay, second question. Best part of watching, specifically we're talking about Armada, but best part of watching these games from the sidelines. We may have already touched on parts of that.
So I think for me, the best part about watching from the sidelines is watching the emotions of the people and watching the way in which they interact. The thing that's so incredible is we've got people from Poland, we've got people from Australia, we've got people from Germany, we've got people from Italy, we've got people like from everywhere, literally everywhere across the entire globe. And not all of them are as fluent with each other's languages as you would think. So normally you would say, well, communication would be really difficult, or like, how are these people going to play in these social games? And yet they come to this table, they come to their game, and you watch and you see this common shared sense of humanity, of of connection, and it's really overwhelming to watch and to see people smile and to laugh and to form these kind of bonds of friendship from like thousands and thousands of miles away. And there's not much else, I've not seen much else in the world like tabletop that can do that can provide people a shared sense of community and language, where even if you can't speak the same languages at all, you can still sit down and have this like really connected experience with each other. So I love watching that. I especially love watching the higher level competitors come in, and to see them with their very serious mindsets, and they're very focused, and there's no fun here. It's all business. And then the game starts and they start playing, and all of a sudden like play gets in. The fun gets in. Like you're talking about, that feeling of like I'm playing with my old Kenner action figures starts to creep in. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that stone-faced facade breaks a little bit, and something crazy happens. Somebody rolls an insane success or an insane failure, and there's a laugh. There's hands. There's I can't, like there's compassion from the other side of the table. I'm sorry, I that's a terrible roll. It should have never happened. You should have been fine. And all of a sudden, instead of being competitors, they are now comrades. Yeah. And that, man, there's very little to really like look at and say that's the best of humanity, right?
And you see a lot of it, especially like you said, at these top-level competitive areas. You almost expect it to be very cutthroat, and to an extent it can be, but the niceties that go with being cutthroat during the game, I think, are probably kind of the fun part here.
I think, the thing that I always love is that 99% of the time, no matter how much is on the line at these events, people always remember that the goal of the game is to win, but the point of the game, the reason we're here, is to have fun.
Yeah, and we tout that a lot here as well, because that's really why we're here. It's like playing with your action figures back in the 80s. So now, I did see you walk around through some of the Armada Hall, and I'm not necessarily, this question's kind of a trick question, but not really. So the question is, what is the favorite fleet you've seen on the table? And I'm going to leave this open, though, because it could just be maybe someone's got a unique paint job, maybe someone's done something to it, or it just, this looks cool. Do you have a favorite that's out here, or one that stands out in your mind?
I don't think that I've had enough time yet to really absorb it all. I got in and started wandering around the hall like right as the rounds were all ending, so people were like putting away their stuff and everything. I saw a really gorgeous looking Separatist fleet in there that had some custom paint on it that I need to go back and look at and see exactly what was done. But that was really nice. And then I think there was a custom Imperial fleet in there that looked pretty good, but I only saw a brief glimpse of it. But it looked like they had done up kind of a Sith color scheme in there. So I'm a sucker for bright reds. Like they're very eye-catching. But yeah, I can't wait to go in and really take a look and have a moment to kind of see everything on the table. I love it when people customize their stuff. Obviously, that's the hobbyist in me. But even some of the fleet construction and compositions, things that like really evoke kind of the narrative and the theme of what they're about, I also find very fun. So it doesn't just take a cool paint job. Sometimes it's just like a really cool thematic like army build or fleet build that can really make me go, I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, cool. Will, thank you so much once again for coming out and spending a little bit of time with us. We really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun every time you come onto the channel. This is twice. So hopefully next year we'll make it 3.
Exactly. All right.
But definitely we've got a lot more action for you. You guys at home are probably asking what the final score was for the game. Ryan did win. It was a 400-66 game, so a 10-1 for Ryan. So excellent ending there. Yeah. Again, Raddus, what else do you expect? So you get that drop in, bring in a lot of big ships in, and bam, everything blows up. So I think we're going to sign off for the afternoon. We're going to grab some lunch. So this is Will Shick. I'm Ken, and stay tuned for more action here on Ion Radio for the 2024 for Star Wars Armada World Championship here at AdeptiCon.